Hello and welcome. Euro 2012 culminates on Sunday. Out of the 16 teams which started nearly a month ago, Spain and Italy will battle it out for the prize. Sunday will be the last time the competition has 16 teams. From 2016, 24 nations will fight for the right to party as European champions. Naturally, the change in format has provoked controversy. European football's governing body UEFA, which organises the tournament, says that making Euro 2016 more accessible will give incentives to some of the smaller nations to show their worth on the big stage. Critics of expansion say 16 teams makes it a better quality tournament, a kind of crème de la crème for the connoisseurs. Jonathan Wilson is the editor of the football magazine The Blizzard. He spoke to me from Donetsk.
I think it's a dreadful idea. I think the Euros is a great tournament as it stands. Pretty much every game of this tournament has been competitive. That you've gone into the game not really knowing who's going to win, and I think that produces good football. You don't just get one team sitting back and defending while the other team tries to break them down. You get proper competitive games. I think if you go up to 24 teams, A, you don't the quality. B, I just think the format doesn't really work as well when you have 6 groups of 4, of whom the 4 best third-place teams go through. So to give you an example of that, if you think back to, say, the Russia v Greece game, if Russia had known that they were going to go through with 4 points, which is what would happen if the 4 best third-place teams go through, then there'd have been absolutely no tension to that game. As it was, you had Russia pouring forward, trying desperately to find an equaliser, which they didn't get. But still, you had that 20-30 minutes of real tension and anxiety for Greece, tension and anxiety for Russia. That just wouldn't be there if you have a 24-team tournament. And the other thing, I think it ruins the qualifiers. There's 53 UEFA members, 24 of them qualify, so pretty much half the teams go through. So you're going to have the 2 years after the World Cup, before the Euros, with pretty much meaningless games. A tiny handful of games are actually going to matter, and I think that's a very, very bad thing.
When Poland and Ukraine were named as co-hosts of this year's extravaganza, there were concerns about the country's records on racism. Ironically, it was the Croatian Football Federation that was hit with a fine of €70,000 when fans directed racist abuse at the Italian forward Mario Balotelli. Spanish fans also had a go at Balotelli during the pool stages, and Russian fans targeted the Czech Republic defender Theodor Gebreselassie in their Group A game. Just before the semi-finals, the issue of tolerance was underlined. The word respect and the national team flags both appeared a few minutes before kick-off. In the run-up to the matches, a street football game with an anti-discrimination message toured Poland and Ukraine, while anti-racism campaigners have been at every match to monitor fans. Rafal Pankowski is a spokesman for one of those monitoring groups, the Never Again Association. He told me that there's been a social leap forward.
What we have seen is certainly a very positive confrontation with multiculturalism. For the first time, we've seen, so many different people of different backgrounds, different nationalities in Poland and in Ukraine, interacting with each other. And I think that is a very positive experience for Polish and Ukrainian society alike. But of course, it would be wrong to assume all the problems that we've been dealing with are going to disappear overnight. Even a big event like a European Football Championship cannot eliminate xenophobia or racism or other social problems completely. So I think it is critical now that some of the good work has been done continues. So the positive change that has been underway still happens after the championship. That would be the most important social legacy.
And when you talk about the positive good work, what does that actually mean? Is that workshops or seminars or offices where people can go?
I would say in general an increased awareness of issues of racism and discrimination, part of the legacy of the European Championship in Poland and Ukraine. And yes, it concerns education, it concerns anti-discrimination classes. Yes, it also concerns law enforcement in cases of racism and discrimination, which is getting better, but there is still a lot to be done in this area in both Poland and Ukraine, and so on and so on. Also the way the media talk about things like racism and intolerance. So, there's a number of issues here that can be lumped together in terms of the general social and cultural legacy of the championships, which, as I said, I think is very positive, but it must be maintained and sustained.
From the footballing standpoint, fans have been treated to some compelling performances, and for the most part, adventure has been rewarded. The 4 teams in the semis were far better than their opponents in the quarter-finals, and though the Spain and Portugal semi-final went to a penalty shootout after ending goalless, the Italians overwhelmed the favourites Germany in 90 minutes. The question is, will Spain adapt their brand of possession football as they attempt to become the first side to win 3 tournaments on the trot and then defend their world crown in Brazil in 2 years? Indeed, the weight of history may well bear down on those Spanish midfield triangles, or it could make them even more glittering than before. Well, that's it from Sports Insight for this week. From me, Paul Myers, thanks for listening. Goodbye.